All right, everybody. Welcome tonight to our kickoff Zoom. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really just grateful to have this time to talk to y'all. And for those of you listening to the recording about just some tips to help you have a successful challenge. So our virtual gym, we have 2B Mindset group. We have other challenge groups that are being run by other coaches. And every Sunday night, we all come together for these Zoom calls. So some weeks you'll see your coaches from your group lead, and some weeks a coach from another group will help lead, and you get to just learn and lean in with all of this in our team, which is a great just way for us to kind of lean in with each other and use our strengths. So tonight, for most of us, but not everyone, we have at the beginning of the month, we kick off like a new focus in our virtual gym, and we're also kicking off a fresh 2B Mindset group. And so whether this is your first challenge that you've ever done or your 100th, it doesn't matter. Like there are certain principles I think that we need to reevaluate and look at every time. And so I wanted to kind of give you 5 tips to have a successful challenge. And then my last part of this is a challenge within a challenge about self-evaluation. So my name is Kelly Brown. I've been a coach for it'll be 6 years in July. I've been doing challenge groups for 6 years. And over the course of those 6 years, I've had 2 babies. So I've bounced back and forth in my journey from, hitting my goal to having a baby and kind of starting new. And I've learned a lot. And one thing that I've learned that's really helped me, that's my first tip to share with you guys, is that every time you start new, be excited. Like treat the challenge like it's your first time. We can get complacent really quickly and really comfortable in our habits if we don't treat this opportunity as it is. You need to high five yourself for saying yes to your health and for giving yourself time to learn healthier habits, to be in a community, to take time to exercise, to take time to work on your nutrition. Like people don't do that. That's not the norm. And people don't do it where they're invested in a community like we have in the long run. It's not like a quick fix. This is not a microwave. You don't join these groups. I'm sure your coaches talk to you about this. And the beauty, like for yes, there are programs that are 21 days or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks, but it's a lifestyle that you're seeking. And so be excited that you're here. Every challenge that starts is like another layer of the onion that gets to be peeled away. It's another opportunity for you to discover healing and growth and skills and strength that you didn't know you had. And so, one of the things my friend Kessa always said, whenever we would travel together, and I was thinking about it tonight, is ask yourself, like, what am I going to discover in these next 30 days that's going to change my life? Because whenever we would go to an event, like and hear a speaker, she would be like, what am I going to learn from them that's going to change my life? And I was like, what about that if we approach the challenge, like, what am I going to discover this time? Sometimes you're going to discover a weakness you have, y'all. You're going to discover that you self-sabotage. You're going to discover that dark chocolate chips are not your friend when you're stressed out, that you have some mindset hacks that have to be overcome. Or you're going to discover that that workout program is not for you and you got to try something different. Or, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes the things we discover aren't fun. But if we have the right attitude about it, it can be exciting because every lesson you learn in these challenge groups is like an opportunity for you to just go deeper. And so I would suggest that if you feel nervous, be nervous excited. I always say that, where I made up the word like nerve sighted. Like I get nervous excited, not negative nervous, just because, there's what if, and I'm going to talk about it in a minute. But something that might help you with being excited is find a quote, find something that pumps you up, or a song that you can just like reflect on. Maybe a theme. A lot of us picked a word for the year at the beginning of the year, and it's now April. If you haven't done that, a word, like my word is arise. And I think like last year it was made new, and the year before that it was joy in the journey. But that helped me focus. Or have a song that pumps you up, or a quote. Like, I thought about giving up. Oh, I can't think of a quote right now. Y'all type some quotes in the chat. my brain just went, but you know what I'm saying? Motivational quotes, you know, like things that will pump you up. Like, and I like, for me, it's just little things like that that can make, like the big one for me last year, which is hanging on my wall up here, is live by grace, not perfection, because I'm a recovering perfectionist. So that's my first tip for you, is to be excited. I'm going to mute. You hopped on. The second one is to make a plan. You got to have a plan. Like, you need to have a workout plan if you're in the virtual gym, a nutrition plan if you're doing Ultimate Portion Fix or 2B Mindset. And with that plan comes a map, and it's called your program guide, and you can print it off on Beachbody On Demand. I have done programs with a calendar and without, and the ones I finished, I always were the ones that had the calendar. The ones I got the best results on, I had a calendar. So even in our 2B Mindset group, we have made a calendar because there's value of seeing your progress through the days. And the plan is laid out for you. You get to make the plan by selecting what you want to do, but thankfully a trainer or a registered dietitian has laid out the daily steps. But you need to have that, because that's part of the freedom of these groups, is having a plan with your workout, your nutrition, and, you know, planning when you're going to drink your Shakeology. That's an easy thing to plan. And give yourself credit that you're taking these steps, you know, and making those things important. Those are like the foundational pieces, you know, the community of digging in every day in the challenge groups. Plan when you're going to check in. Plan what workouts you're going to do. And that's part of what we're doing in our virtual gym this week, is for game plan week. We're like kind of picking the programs and getting everything in place. Plan with the nutrition program if you're following 2B Mindset, Ultimate Portion Fix, or the nutrition guide that comes with the program, or maybe you do something different, whatever. What nutrition plan are you doing? And plan, you know, what kind of things are you going to work on personal development wise, which we'll talk about in the group. Like those negative things in your head, well, find a book that's going to feed you. Find a book that you can take 10 minutes a day, or a podcast. Like, I just discovered a podcast called The Model Health Show. Never heard of it. And I listened to it this past week, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And he's a health coach, but he talks a lot about mindset, and I just needed it, you know? And so we'll be sharing things in the groups about that, but make a plan and select those things. Then I want you to brain dump all the stuff that you want to accomplish. I want to drink 100 ounces of water. I want to work out 6 days a week. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to finish this book. I want to overcome this. I want to eat more veg. Just brain dump it all. Brain dump all of it on a piece of paper. Like, this is all the stuff that, you know, if I could finish well, I would like rock all of these things. And then each week after you picked your program and your nutrition, and you know when you're checking in the group and that's in a good spot, pick one thing off that list to add. But it's good to just brain dump it, because then you're putting it somewhere. If you don't brain dump it, what happens is it usually swirls around in our head, and it'll start to accuse us of being a failure, that we're not doing it yet. You know, we're all at different levels. Right now, I am recovering from some adrenal fatigue, and I cannot do programs like Transform 20 that I was doing that I love. But I can write down by the end of the year that I want to do it again. And that way, when I start to accuse myself of like, well, you can't do that. No, but I can later, and it's right here. It's part of the plan. I'm just not part of the plan right now. And look at each of those things on your list as a brick, and you're building a house. And you don't build a house by dumping a bag of bricks on the ground and praying they lay in the like flat, you know, tesserae. You have to select the right one at the right time and lay them, you know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be done right. And so this is not a rush. And if you do it this way, then there might be seasons where it takes a little longer for one brick to settle, but that's okay, because it's strong, and trust the process. So make that plan, and brick by brick, we will lay down that foundation for you. Number 3, be learnable. John C. Maxwell is one of my favorite personal development people ever. And he always talks about being teachable. And then one day he's like, just be learnable. And I was like, I don't even know if that's a word. You know, come in each week, and when you read the posts in the group, or you read people's days, read it with an attitude of like, what can I learn from others? When you're listening to your trainer and you're working out, like if you're doing Transform 20, be learnable, because Shanti will make you cry in very good ways. Or if you're doing Lift 4, even in that, like, pay attention to what people say in the programs. Pay attention, like, just absorb the good stuff. Like, if you're drinking Shakeology, like, start reading about what the goodness is in it so you can appreciate how you're nourishing your body. That's what I love right now about the nutrition programs we have with Ultimate Portion Fix and TB Mindset. We're learning why we eat this way. It's not just because, it's not because it's going to make us lose weight. It's because these are the ways we nourish our body. Just be learnable. You know, if you're open to learning new things, trying new things, and applying new things, then you're going to get bonus growth that you didn't even know was going to happen. You're going to have areas that you're going to find and discover that you didn't even know you needed. And so I ask that you would be learnable. Number 4, be an encourager. The best way to rise up in your fitness level, the best way to rise in anything, I love the quote, is we rise when we lift others up. If you are feeling low and you took 3 to 4 minutes to go comment on 2 people's days and show them that you recognize 2 things they did well on each post, you will naturally start to feel better. You will also start to see the things you're doing well. We're self-critical and then we retreat. You know, it's why a lot of times, like, I don't know if any of you guys have to go to the gym. When I used to go to the gym, it was like comparisonitis everywhere. Like, all I did was look around and compare myself to everybody in the room, and there was no conversation going on. It's not like someone got on the elliptical next to me and was like, "Good job, you're doing awesome." Like, they didn't. They were just buried in a book. Like, they didn't, or watching the TV. You know what I'm saying? We have something unique here. Like, you're gonna have days you can post, I don't even know what my win is, but here are the things that I did, and someone else can come in and say, "You just showed up." I remember someone saying that to me one time, like, "You're here." And it was like, oh, and it helped me overcome some negativity I had. So, you know, being an encourager, if you have a positive song or quote you find, or you're reading in your book, post it in the group, add value. You can go live. Like, this is your community. You don't have to ask permission to share. So take that time. And then number 5, feed your mind as much as you nourish your body. I think that, you know, just to circle back a little bit, but like, I want you to pay attention to the words that are coming out of your mouth, to the words that you're taking agreement with every day. Words are seed. We plant them. And, you know, you're in an environment in this group that is very fruitful, good ground. You know, you're surrounded by people who will love you. But a lot of times what I found can happen is we have these words. So a couple examples. Instead of saying, like, "I'm going to try," I will. You know, trying is like, I'm going to put one foot in, but I'm going to keep one foot out. And that way, if I don't do it, then I don't have to feel bad. No, go full force. If you're going to fail, fail hard, and then get up. Which, I can't believe I said that out loud, because I had a huge fear of failure for a very long time. But that's the best, you learn your best lessons. So if you know, don't say, I only worked out twice last week. No, I did. I worked out twice last week. And you know what? I'm proud of it. And next week I'll do this. Don't say, you know, I should have. Like, I had a therapist one time that told me that should was a bad word. You know what I'm saying? And don't should all over the place. She would say, you know, just, so instead of that, say, you know, next time I will. Because you're having a mindset of, I'm going to do the right thing. And I don't, you know, you don't have to be perfect in the process, but find the words you say. For example, one of my trigger words, because in our journal for the TB Mindset, and we're going to talk about in the group food journaling, it asks how you're feeling in the morning. If I'm writing overwhelmed every morning, that's a big aha for me, that something's got to change, that I'm constantly using the word overwhelmed. When people ask, how are you? I'm overwhelmed. That's my cue that something's got to be tweaked if I'm using that word a lot. So just pay attention to your thoughts. Like, you want to feed your mind to the videos, you know, coaches are going to share. Every Sunday night we'll have a video like this. You will take time. We'll have personal development stuff we share. You can go on YouTube to, like, Talk is an app. We'll share books in the group and do calls about this, but like, you need to feed your mind, because it really does matter. If you're a person of prayer time is very important. I think being in the Word is important. I also think there's value if you know a struggle you have, if it's negative self-talk, if it's, you know, I don't know, perfectionism, if it's not understanding your purpose, if it's you don't feel like you belong, if it's emotional eating. There are books about those things that can help you with the tools so that because you can't officially find the freedom if you're enslaved to the process. The process is supposed to bring you freedom. So what I found in my journey was, I was actually just reflecting on this, like the first time I did the challenge groups, I lost weight and I felt really good and I felt so comfortable in my skin. And then I got pregnant with my 6th baby. And during that pregnancy, I tried to do everything right. I think I ate Whole30 like the whole time, like whatever. My body just gains the same amount of weight no matter what. My pregnancy delivery was really rough. Like it was a hard delivery with my son. He had like a ginormous head and it was super fast and just rough. And it's put me into a place afterwards where I was really in a bad place. And I was in challenge groups. I was a coach, I didn't even know it. And I felt like a failure when I looked at photos because in my head, I had this perfectionism that I was going to like push out a baby and then do like a burpee. And so what I discovered because of the mindset part of this was that next recovery year was not so much about me losing the postpartum weight as it was losing the emotional perfectionism that was holding me prisoner. So that when I got pregnant again, because I have 7 kids, that pregnancy, I worked hardcore on my mindset that whole pregnancy. My mindset was just as important as my workout. I had I am statements and things. And when I delivered Eli, I think I had one day the whole postpartum where I like hated my body and I knew right away, wait, this is not right. I'm tired. I shouldn't be doing this. I had freedom, y'all. I enjoyed the process. Yeah, there were days like the scale didn't move or I was frustrated or whatever, but I didn't have that like, because of the mindset. I wasn't enslaved to, I got to work out every single day and eat pounds of carrots and kale to like get back into shape. I found freedom. And so I want you to nourish your mind, because your mind is your heart, your body, your soul is starving to know you matter, because we live in a world of comparison. And in our community, we can offer that to one another by being learnable, by being an encourager, but also taking that time to fill your mind. So the last thing I'm going to talk to you about is a challenge within a challenge, and it's our bonus tip. I want you to pick a day every week. We do it on Sundays in our groups. I do it on Sundays because I'm a planner. Where you self-evaluate your week, but you promise me that when you self-evaluate, you will not self-bully. I'm actually going to post in our group, do you promise? And I want everyone to say, I promise not to self-bully. Y'all, I never realized how much I bullied myself until I was an adult. And I was actually bullied as a kid, like in middle school and high school and college, but I was even worse with myself. You're going to mess up. It's okay. You're going to eat cookies and brownies or whatever it is. You might have ice cream. You might miss a workout. Your kid's going to get sick and you're going to not be able to do things the way you want one day. But the fact that you continue to show up and you still look at your program and think, okay, well, I missed this day, so I'll just do it tomorrow. And you have this attitude of, I'm just going to self-adjust and learn from the process and keep going, will take you further than any amount of shame that you could put on yourself for not doing it perfect. Perfectionism will paralyze you and cheat you of really experiencing how amazing you are. And as much as you can be excited and have a perfect plan, you're going to have days you're not excited. You're going to have days your plan falls through. So when you go to self-evaluate, you can ask, why did that happen? For me, I hit a season a few weeks ago where I realized I was not eating lunch until really late in the day. And then I was literally grabbing a bunch of random stuff. And I have a lot of food intolerances, so random stuff for me is harder to grab. And I was just getting hangry, like in the afternoon. So I was getting frustrated with myself. So what I learned to start doing is I literally meal prep my lunches for the week. So like I'll take the leftovers and make a couple days worth of lunches. And now I eat like lunch at noon every day when my kids are eating lunch, and it's made a huge difference. It took a swallow of my ego because it's taken me 6 years to realize I got to prep my lunch. I can do dinners. I'm good at that. But I had to self-evaluate. Why am I getting so cranky in the afternoon? Why am I acting this? Why is my anxiety bad? Oh, I'm not eating until too late. So I had to self-evaluate. Or like things I was catching even in my mindset lately of like, I self-sabotage not so much with food as I do with the way I talk to myself. And I started to notice that. And Sarah and I were talking about that earlier today, because holding ourselves accountable, because like I've been doing it with the old tapes, the old comfortable, well, I always do this. I never, if you start to hear those things. And so when I self-evaluate on the week, it's more like, how was my sleep? How are my workouts? What did I do well? What's one brick I can lay down for the next week? And not, oh, I should have, I didn't, shame on me. No, like, I don't care if you ate a whole 3 gallons of ice cream one night. You don't need to be ashamed. You might have a stomach ache, but you don't need to be ashamed. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is no shame. I would be more concerned of why, and let's dig that root out so it doesn't happen again. I just, that's my big challenge to you. You can cheat yourself the only way you can really cheat in this challenge is if you cheat yourself by letting perfectionism and self-bullying prevent you from really experiencing the beauty of this community. I was blessed to have a group of coaches at my house last weekend. Can't believe it was like a week ago, for a retreat. And, as coaches, almost all of us started out as challengers. And we were thinking about our first challenge groups and what we felt like before, because it's important for us to not forget so that we can continue to serve you guys. And it was really eye-opening to me that one of the main things a lot of us had to overcome was like feeling like we didn't belong, or feeling like we couldn't do it, or we didn't matter, or, those lies are deeply rooted. And so what I love is that the trainer has your program figured out, your nutritionist has got your nutrition figured out. So we get to love on each other and pull out the weeds that have gotten you stuck before, so that you can build that house and have that strong foundation. So those are my tips. Do y'all have any questions, or does any of the other coaches want to add anything? You're more than welcome to add. Y'all, that was quick. I'm usually like long-winded, and I'm doing good. Anybody want to share anything before we keep
I'll say something. It wouldn't be a talk. Although it's really echoey for me. Is it echoey for you? Okay, then I can just plow. Oh, it is for Rebecca? I can't hear you. I'm good. All right. Well, then I'll just go. And if it's echoey for me, it doesn't matter. Can somebody nummy that baby? Of course, the baby just started crying. So one thing that I wanted to mention, Kelly talked about it a little bit, but I want to, double down on it a little bit, is this concept of your vision and letting yourself imagine where you could be a month from now, or 6 months from now, or a year from now. And I will tell you that if you really dial in and lean into your group and to your program, you will start to see changes in a week. No one's going to lose 40 pounds in a week, but you will see a change in a week. You'll see a change in your mindset. You'll see a change in your body. You'll see a change in your cravings. You'll see a change in your energy. And that compounds, because then the next week you see more changes, and the next week you see more changes. And I was at that retreat that Kelly was just talking about, and I was talking with another coach on our team, and she's like, Sarah, what switched for you? What switch flipped for you? Because I watched you go back and forth on your commitment forever. You just went back and forth, and you'd be all in, and then something would happen and you'd completely fall off. And then you'd be all in and you completely fall off. And then, you hit this point and you have never wavered since then. And what happened? And I'll be really honest, it was getting really clear on that vision and the reason that I'm doing this. And it's, I have weight that I want to lose, but that is not enough to drive me to make the hard decisions when my baby is screaming and, I only have 6 kids. When they're completely running amok, and I kid you not, I sent my 10-year-old away from doing the dishes this evening because she broke a dish and dropped a knife and it stuck in the floor. And, it was not a great night in the Kroger household. But when I got really clear on that vision and I let myself believe in the possibilities for my business, for my physical health, for my challenge groups, everything changed. Everything changed because my vision wasn't dictated by the fact that my 10-year-old was being kind of a jerk and there was a knife stuck in the floor. Like, that didn't change my vision, and that didn't keep me from being here tonight because my circumstances don't dictate that. So that's just what I wanted to kind of, I don't know, re-emphasize, because Kelly talked about it a little bit, because those of us whose faces you're going to see in front of you are not in this as fast as we can, as soon as possible mindset. We are in this, like, this is my life now. This is my lifestyle now. We're busy people. We have a lot on our plate. We have a lot of health things that we deal with. We've got kids, and we've got sports schedules and families and stressful jobs and all of those things. Like, we have all of those things. Any excuse that you can come up with, you will find a coach on our team who is in that same boat and doing this. And it's not a one-up or a showing up or anything like that. It's you just have to figure out what it means to you. And you have to figure out what you're going to be able to do once you get this piece taken care of. And I love a good metaphor, and sometimes I even mix them, but I think this time of year a lot about planting, and a lot about, we talk about filling your own cup or securing your own oxygen mask or things like that. And I've thankfully never been in a catastrophic flying event where the oxygen masks come down from the ceiling. So I don't have any real personal experience with that one, but I am a gardener, and I do sometimes water, particularly my little seedlings, by hand with a watering can. And if I am only going to fill my watering can one time because I'm really busy, or I don't have a lot of time, or I'm too lazy to walk back to the spigot to fill it up again, then I have to make a choice. I have to make that one watering can full of water. I have to decide where that water goes, because it doesn't fill itself. I have to fill it. And so I have a choice, because I plant a lot of seeds. We plant a big garden, right? I love to plant. I'm not always really good at taking care of what I've planted, but I love to plant seeds. And so I have trays and trays and trays and trays and trays of seeds started. And if I only have one watering can, then I either have to give every seed less than what they need and hope it's enough, or I have to pick who I'm going to water and who I'm going to let dry out. Because there's a finite amount of water in my can. And that is 100% where you are here. You can only go so far with what's in your watering can right now. And you have to find some way to refill it, because once that water is gone, you scream at the top of your lungs at your daughter who just dropped a knife and it's now sticking straight up and down at the floor, right? Because you have lost your temper completely and totally because dishes and 10-year-olds. But for me, that the reality of that is I have to read my personal development. I have to listen to something inspiring. I listen to podcasts in the shower now because it's about the only time that I, in theory, have nobody interrupting me and can actually listen to something, but it's a bummer because it's really hard to take notes. But the point is, like, I have to fill myself, right? I have to read something. I have to do my workout. Like, I'm now one of those crazy people who feels better after working out. And it took a long time to get there. It took me years before I felt excited about working out. So I get it. But if I don't let myself imagine what my life will be like when I put these changes in place that I want to put in place, then that makes it harder for me to take the time to do my personal development, to take the time to listen to something, to take the time to work out, or to take the time to cook some food or whatever it is. And then I don't have anything in my watering can to pour out to the people around me. I think that was more than 2 cents, but.
That's okay. That was really good. I love that. I think that, use this group as a faucet. or a spigot if you're from the South. And you're right. And I think, just like I said, if this is your first time, if it's your seventh time, if it's your 100th time, whatever it is, coming at it as if it's your first, and what can change my life this time? What's new? Because every week we'll have these calls where we will teach you guys and share from what we're learning now. Same lessons sometimes taught differently because we're in a season where we're learning something new. And we want to hear from you too, as you're learning and growing as well. Amanda, did you raise your hand?
I did. I just wanted to add to what Sarah had said. Is my audio coming through?
Yeah, you're perfect.
Okay. Cool. I'm kind of like Sarah, where I like to be able to add and to say something. So I think the reflection piece that Kelly talked about is so important for the days like Sarah is talking about, because if you are having that really hard day because something happened in your family, maybe it's not the knife sticking in the floor, but it's that you didn't do your professional or your personal development that day. It's that, you didn't feed your body right. And so you're running on fumes. And it's not about beating yourself up, but it's about looking and saying, okay, I didn't put those bricks in place. I didn't build a good foundation for my day. And so this is why I ended up feeling that way. And if you're like me, that then leads to like that emotional eating, disrupting that process and thinking through it and having it on paper where you can look at it and see it's not that I can't handle what's thrown at me. It's that I have a plan to follow. And when I don't do that, I struggle. And just seeing that on paper, having that reflection or using that tracker and seeing like, this is what I need. This is what happens to me if I don't do what I need. It's empowering. It doesn't have to feel upsetting when you do have diversions, because you can say, okay, here's my reminder. This is what I need to do. So I just wanted to add that as well.
I love that. Thank you. No, that's really good. And I think that sometimes that is what like you said, to have that plan. Sometimes it's nice to have some of the things laid out for us, and then we, to control what we can control. And it's exciting to see the growth that y'all are going to have, and so I appreciate you guys taking the time on a Sunday night to be here. And does anyone else have anything else they want to add? And otherwise I'll close this out in prayer.
I'm just going to say one thing real quick. Sure. I know that there's been a lot of information that we've covered on this call. By the way, my name is Rebecca, and I am one of the coaches in the group too, and I'm a challenger, just like everybody else here. I need this for me. Sometimes in the start of a new group or a new focus for the month, it can be kind of overwhelming because there's a lot of things that we've learned that we want to pass on to you. But our heart is that we help you take this in, not as that big fire hydrant hose coming at you, but just as that watering can. Like, we want to make sure that you have what you need when you need it. So like, Kelly talked about printing off your workout calendar. Make sure you grab that. Make sure you decide on the program you're doing and the nutrition plan that you're going to follow. Make sure that, you've made a decision as to what kind of personal development you want. Do you want to find a podcast? There's a lot of resources we can hook you up with. Do you want to read a book? I love reading books and underlining things, so that's my go-to. And so, if you need help finding that, we can definitely recommend some for you. But those are the things, the decisions that you want to make up front as we start tomorrow. And then this week, we're going to be talking about goal setting and creating that vision that Sarah talked about. And we're going to be looking at our nutrition and how to successfully plan that. So I know that when we start things, it's exciting. And sometimes you're like, oh my goodness, I'm kind of overwhelmed. And I just want you to take a minute to breathe and to just let us love on you as we get started this week. There's so many amazing things that we're going to be sharing with you this week to help you have a successful month in these next 30 days. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And again, I love what you shared, Kelly, about watching what you speak over yourself. Let those words speak life over you, and just maintaining a positive attitude as we're hoping for change. We're all unique. We're all made individually. Our bodies respond to exercise and nutrition completely differently. So we're all in this together, and yet realize that your body's going to respond differently than your neighbor's body. And where you might see changes faster in one area, she might see changes faster in another. But we're all here to support one another, cheer one another on, celebrate those successes, and then troubleshoot together when you're like, okay, well, let's find out why maybe I'm not seeing the progress I need, or what I can do differently to see that progress too. So anyway, we're really excited you're here. Just wanted to say that.
No, that's awesome. Thank you. Yes, for sure. For sure. So I'm going to close this out in prayer. Thank you guys for being here, for y'all listening to the recording. These are always shared every Monday in the group, and we'll have like them all saved in the group so you can go back and listen to other ones if you listen in the shower for your personal development time. But let's go ahead and close in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for a fresh start, Lord, and for the gift of spring. Lord, I'm grateful for all the women who are here tonight, and the men and women who are listening to this recording, for those that you've called to be a part of our community for this season. God, I just ask that you would help us to have peace of mind and excitement as we start new, as we face another week, as we go into a plan. Lord, help us to discover what it is you want us to learn this time. What is it you want to teach us this round? What is it you want to heal us of? What victory do you want to show us? And help us to see what that vision is that you have for us. Help us to see and to be open to, the dreams and the goals and the things that we have on our heart, Lord, to trust that you want them for us too. And that when we surrender them to you, you will actually guide us to places that are even more wonderful than what we imagine. I just pray for all perfectionism to be rooted out. I pray for the things that hold us back. And if we've failed before, Lord, if we've struggled before, which we all have, I pray that we would just have mercy with ourselves and grace with ourselves as we get back up and we lean on one another. And I pray for this community to be a strong support to one another, that we really just become encouragers and lights to one another, and that we just, our eyes are open to the gift that we are and how wonderful you have made us. We pray all these things in your holy name. Amen. All right, you guys, have a good night.